Today we're going to be talking about the amazing city of Mecca. We're going to be looking at its history from the beginning, which according to Muslims, I guess, goes back to Adam or at least Abraham, depending on which Muslim you're talking to, which sources they are looking at. Doesn't quite start that early in reality, but you also hear many Christians or other critics of Islam saying that Mecca didn't exist until a couple centuries after the time of Muhammad, and we're going to argue that that isn't true as well. So we're going to kind of be taking on both of these extreme views in view of what is actually the truth of the matter. Welcome back, Mary. Anything you want to say as an introduction?
Nope. We are just only that we are actually getting to the Kaaba being in place and people living around it in this stream. So finally, they're going to be human beings actually living in Mecca, in the Hijaz, which has not happened in any of the previous streams.
So, but before we get to that, I think we're going to start with some current events. No doubt everyone in the audience has heard that Israel is at war, that Muslim terrorists attacked Israel, and they responded by declaring war on Hamas in particular, but by consequence, the Palestinian pseudo-state. So in that line, we have a Muslim reaction to the
So yeah, it goes on for a minute after.
There's about 2 seconds left, but I think the clip more or less speaks for itself. But if you want to add some commentary, feel free to do so.
Yeah, I thought it was like 13 minutes long, actually, whenever it was counting down. But maybe
no, it's 49 seconds, and we're at about 46 when you said.
Yeah, because it was just going to be more of the same. So anyway, first of all, I want to remind everyone that we have indeed discovered what Allah is larger than. Allahu Akbar means Allah is greater. He's bigger. He's bigger than something. Not that he's the greatest, but he is greater. And there was a phrase of the associators that they would say that Allah and Al-Uzza are great, but Allah is greater. And in fact, even other folks recorded that that Allah specifically was called Allah the Great. Therefore, Muslims have been saying for 1,400 years, they have been declaring that Allah is greater than Allah and Al-Uzza, who are lesser beings. So Allah deserves more praises than their other pagan deities, Allah and Al-Uzza, who they are still referencing in their takbir. They are referencing this. So, and this is true Islam, and they are following the sunnah of their prophet, who slaughtered all the Jews in Medina, and then chased them down in Khaybar and killed almost all of them there. And then he went and Umar fooled Jews into saying, oh, no, we believe in the same God you do. And yes, I followed a prophet who's a legitimate prophet of the same God that you follow, right? Totally legitimate prophet. And so we're going to help you if you just follow us. We're going to take Jerusalem and you can come back in. And all you have to do is like understand that I represent this true prophet. And what happened? 2 years after they were brought into Jerusalem, they were kicked out again. So the Jews were duped into allying with who they thought were their legitimate allies, because the Jews of Khaybar and Medina did not survive to warn them otherwise. So I think that pretty much sums that up.
So we do it. Yeah, we have a comment here from Control Yourself. This is Islam. Why are people so shocked? What do they think channels such as this one have been repeatedly trying to warn everyone about? So I guess that kind of depends on what you mean by people. If you're talking about just the general public, well, they're probably ignorant. They probably have believed the lies about Islam being a religion of peace. And that Muslim I know from down the street seems like a perfectly nice guy, and he may well be so, but doesn't represent accurately what Muhammad taught. So if you're talking about just people in general, they have good reason to be shocked. If you're talking about like people watching this stream, well, they're probably, I'm guessing, probably aren't all that shocked. I mean, I'm not putting this up here because I'm shocked about it, but it's a little bit different talking about it in theory and seeing it lived out in real time. You may have also noticed that we have a new feature today where there is a stream leaderboard as opposed to the all-time leaderboard. So points earned today, that's going to show you who has earned the most today. So everyone has a fair opportunity to participate in that leaderboard. Even if you haven't been around here a long time, and this would be very difficult to get on the all-time, you'll have opportunity to get on the daily one. And we also have another new feature here today. We have the cat cam active. As I promised a while ago, I'd get this set up so you now can see. Let's see if I can adjust that slightly. Oh, wrong direction. See if we can get her head in the shot. There you go. Right in the, so here's her head right here. You can see Artemis sleeping in front of my monitor. So I'll leave that up as long as there's actually a cat there. If the cat leaves and the new one doesn't come by, then I will take that off, but it'll stay up so you can watch Artemis and see when she is sleeping. She often sleeps through these streams. So, and she was just disturbed by another cat jumping around, and you can see her in real time there. Anything else you want to say before I bring up your presentation?
No, I'm going to do a little bit before my presentation. The first thing that I'm bringing up is something pre-presentation. Now I actually have to find the window I'm sharing.
Gotcha.
Where are you? Yes, you are sharing a window. Where is the window that you're sharing? Here it is. Ha! All right. So, I talked a little bit last time about the Hums, who were a sect within the religion of the pre-Islamic pagans, the Muhramun, excuse me, not Muhramun, but Mahramun, who were the folks who regarded the haram, the Masjid al-Haram, as being their haram. So Muhramun is Mahramun. Goodness, Mahramun is from that that same root as haram, because you recognize the haram, so you're called the haram recognizers is kind of what's meant there. And someone was writing about the new sect that the Quraysh kind of invented and established and wanted everybody to join. And one of the reasons supposedly that Muhammad is supposed to be great, remember he's a great man for civilization, he's a great man for women, because he forbade girls from being buried alive. Well, according to al-Jahiz, he says that the Quraysh did never bury their female babies alive. And also in Taif, additionally, they never buried their babies alive because they were neighbors and they were Hums. So because they're Hums, they did not kill their female infants. So this female infanticide was something that was rejected by the post elephant, year of the elephant, Quraysh. They said, we're establishing this thing. We're not bearing any babies alive. So Muhammad did not come and innovate this. This is something that all of the pagans of Mecca already did. Now, secondarily, also he points out that Al-Jahis points out again that the Quraysh, being Hums, refrained from raiding, whereas tribes who accepted the idea of Hums continued to raid and to have intercourse with captured women and to take spoils. But the Quraysh remained courageous. So the Quraysh, having established the Hums, wanted to define it as, we are people who don't go on slave raids to get captured women to enslave and rape. And most of the other Hums didn't follow this, but the Quraysh established this and wanted everybody else to do this. Now, Muhammad came around and he said, oh, all of this stuff about not raiding and raping women, we don't need to do that anymore. I'm a prophet. I'm going to establish a new deen where we do rape and steal women. So I just found that those particular details were especially interesting because we hear all the time how Muhammad came to enlighten the world and bring us enlightenment and female empowerment, when in reality, Islam set women back compared to the pagan Quraysh.
All right, so before you get into the presentation, we actually had a super chat, which is a question. I also saw one from Jack Ray, but I'll start with this one since it's a question. I want to get it before we get...
Brothers and sisters, why to lose this great opportunity? Remember, when the person is on his deathbed, the last minute, he will ask Allah Jalla wa Ala to be delayed for 1 second. To do what? Not to pray, not to do other things, but to give sadaqah, because sadaqah you can give it just like this, in 1 second.
All right.
And Storymaker is not losing this great opportunity. The question here is Judaism, and that I heard that Judaism and their influence made Judaism monotheistic. What are your thoughts on this and possible links between Zoroastrianism and Judaism?
So there is a...
So I heard some argue that Zoroastrian influenced Judaism. Sorry.
Yeah,
some of the text was cut off for me. So
okay. There is a big time issue with this. The person who established Zoroastrianism, as we call it, right, as the religion of the Persian Empire was Darius the Great. The Jews had already gone back to Jerusalem by the time Darius the Great came around. So the theory of the people who are like, oh, Judaism was totally rewritten in this certain period, that would be the period of Babylonian exile and the very, very early part of exile under Cyrus, who was the first Persian Achaemenid emperor, right? He's the first Shahanshah of the Achaemenids, right? And it's the second one, well, not really, there's some civil war stuff in between, but the second major one, right? The other ones don't really count. The second major one who introduced Zoroastrianism. There is no hint that Cyrus followed Zoroastrianism at all whatsoever. So the Jews were already in Jerusalem by the time Zoroastrian was even introduced. We also do not know what form Zoroastrian took at that time. The script, the first script in which any Persian language was written did not show up until the 2nd century BC, which is far long after Zoroastrianism was established. And furthermore, the Avesta, or excuse me, Avesta is the language, the Gotha was not written down. The Gothas were not written down until the AD period. And it has been conclusively shown that oral texts do not stay static. It doesn't matter if it is in a dead language. If you know the language well enough to understand the meaning, you're going to be changing it. And if you don't, it just turns into nonsense syllables after a while. So we have Zoroastrianism is too late, and we also have no idea of the actual form of Zoroastrianism in its first 500 official years of existence. So it really is phenomenally unlikely that Zoroastrian influenced Judaism, but vice versa could have been extraordinarily likely, because we do know that the basic nobody says that the beliefs of established in the Old Testament come along after the Second Temple was established. Like the Second Temple establishment, everyone agrees that the Torah and the histories were written before that point, right? So if Zoroastrianism is oddly similar to that, the influence would have to be in the reverse because of sheer time things. And all of these claims of, we have perfect preservation, phrase by phrase, that has been conclusively disproven by memory studies and by studies of oral traditions and oral poetry of that same sort in historic times.
All right. Thank you very much for that answer. And thank you, Storymaker 2, for that super chat. I saw that it was your first super chat on this channel. So thank you very much for that. So we'll get into the main body of the presentation today. Like I said in the introduction, we're going to be looking at the real history of Mecca from its foundation up until the year of the elephant, which is sometimes said to be the year that Muhammad was born, although that doesn't seem to really line up. There are Islamic sources that say that